Ripon, Wisconsin witnessed many changes over the last century. Some have played significant roles in the formation of our city's heritage, while others were subtle and have been forgotten over time. This is the story of the rise and fall of the once elegant and sophisticated Grandview Hotel. Prior to the rise in popularity of the automobile, the main mode of transportation was by steam train. In the late 1800s, Ripon, Wisconsin joined the rapidly expanding network of railroads in Wisconsin. With railroads came a boom in business and an influx of travelers and workers to Ripon. Although there were a number of choices for lodging in Ripon, including the Mapes Hotel and the Hotel Leroy, only one offered luxury quarters and dining for the classiest of travelers. On October 10, 1872, the small town of Ripon, Wisconsin witnessed the grand opening of what was dubbed a splendid hotel, one of the finest in the state of Wisconsin. The Woods Hotel, built by Mr. Allenson Wood, broke ground March 19th of that year and opened with a benefit by city officials as a sign of their appreciation to Mr. Wood for erecting such a structure in the city. Woods Hotel ranks among the first in the state. It is the only $2 per night house in the city. It is one of the best in the North for the following reasons. It has a large office and reading room, large well-lighted sample rooms, the finest gentlemen's toilet rooms and accessories in the state, spacious dining rooms, fine elegant furnished sleeping apartments, a billiard hall, sample room, barbershop, and bathrooms. The best of everything only is used in the culinary department, and the dining room service is most excellent. The meats are from leading Chicago markets, the cream, milk, and butter from the dairy farm of the proprietor, and are always pure and fresh. This hotel is only 5 minutes from Green Lake, that most popular summer resort. Ripon itself, the most healthful city in the Northwest, is a delightful spot for the tourist to spend a few weeks during the warm season. A reduction from the regular rates, $2, will be given to those who wish to remain in the city for a few days. 25 years experience in the hotel business in Ripon warranty me in guaranteeing satisfaction. Lant Wood, proprietor. At about 8 o'clock, the guests began to arrive, and everything was in perfect order. Lockwood's orchestra furnished music for those who assembled at the hotel, and Hutchinson's band of Ripon did the music at the opera hall, which had been thrown open for the occasion. Also in attendance at the event were reporters from around the area. The Oshkosh Northwestern, after giving an account of the event, concludes that Woods Hotel is the finest hotel in the state outside of Milwaukee. It is a perfect palace of comfort and convenience, and is one that Ripon can justly feel proud of. The Oshkosh Times continued, "The house is one of the finest in northern Wisconsin. The arrangements throughout are of the first-class order, and with so obliging and enterprising a landlord as Mr. Wood, the house promises to achieve a popularity unprecedented among traveling men." Around the year 1901, the hotel was renamed Hotel Englebright when it was purchased by Mr. William H. Englebright. The interior was extensively remodeled, including the removal of many rooms in order to make the remaining rooms larger and more luxurious. This hotel was originally built in 1872 and rebuilt in 1900 on practically modern lines. Barring a brief interval, it has been under the same management since 1900. It is the aim of the owner to make this hotel first class in every way that prevailing prices will warrant. With the high cost of all kinds of provisions and increased cost of help, the strictest economy must be practiced in order to run this hotel for $2 per day. It is hoped the traveling public and others appreciate the effort that is being made to keep this hotel up to the high standard it has always maintained, and for that reason I respectfully solicit the patronage of the general public. Great care has been used to make this hotel perfectly safe from fire. Ropes have been placed in every room for instant use if needed. Good meals, care, and cleanliness is the motto of this hotel. I want all to consider this hotel when they come as their home and to feel at home. Do not hesitate to ask when in need of any information. Boost for Ripon and its hotel. Yours very truly, William H. Englebright. The dining room and bar were considered very fashionable for the day.
They really had really, really good meals, and a lot of people came not from just the city itself, but around to come to eat there. It was really a nice place, clean, it was good food, and everybody, I'm sure, enjoyed it because they came back a lot.
The Hotel Englebright also featured a cigar stand and billiard room, along with a barber shop in connection. It was a popular stopping point for travelers as well as Ripon's elite. In the spring of 1937, Hotel Englebright was sold to the Coons family. Throughout the decade of the 1940s, the hotel, now renamed the Grandview Hotel, continued to be one of Ripon's finest features. The Grandview played host to out-of-towners and Riponites alike. Because of the fine food, the dining area was a very popular setting for local groups and organizations. Such was the case on the evening of Monday, January 31st, 1949, when members of the Ripon Kiwanis Club met at the Grandview.
I was a member of the Kiwanis Club at the time, and we had a joint meeting with the Ripon Rotary Club as a ladies' night. So both clubs and their wives or guests were present, and we had a program of some kind. I have no recollection of what it was, but we met in the main dining room, and the meeting broke up between 10:30 and 11 o'clock at night. And at that time, my wife and I left the building and went home.
Well, my husband, he played 3 games of cribbage every evening with Charlie Wentland before Charlie went up to his room. We went up the stairs probably around 11:30, I would say. Ours was the first room on the left.
The Kiwanis gathering at the Grandview broke up around 10 p.m. on that cold Monday night. The dining area was cleaned, dishes were washed, and the Grandview staff prepared for the next day's activities. But that Tuesday night, the unthinkable would bring only tragedy.
The reason we woke up was we heard Millie Rudine, which was the only reason that probably a lot of people was saved, because she was running down the hall screaming, "Fire, fire, please get out." And of course we didn't know what she was yelling because it was after midnight. And we thought maybe somebody was trying to get after her. So Mac says, "Well, I think we better check and see if Millie's okay." And he opened the door and the smoke just rolled in. He shut the door and he says, "Get dressed quick, we're out of here, the place is on fire." As soon as we got some clothes on so we wouldn't freeze to death on the outside, we opened the door, and when we went down the stairs to go out, the railing on the stair was on flames. So we just ran as close as we could to the wall and got out. Right across the street, my husband says, "I think I better get the car out from the back," which was a parking lot, so that the fire engine could come back there if they needed to. And he just ran around the back and got the car out of the parking space and came back down Watson Street, and then we both stood there quite a while watching the fire. I don't think we ever thought we'd get back in, but we watched it anyway.
Living out north of Ripon on a farm 6 miles north. But one of the kids woke up, which must have been between 2 and 3, and I was up and our bay window was to the south, and I could see there was an awful fire in Ripon. The sky was red and you could almost see flames, but I had no idea what it was.
Building was horribly, woefully underinsured. We knew its construction. That was not a brick building. It was a frame building with a brick skin. And it was old, it was dry, and we often said not if the hotel burns, but when.
They had to use hand ladders, and when I started with the fire department in '62, they still talked about that fire because there was a lot of firemen at that time that had to fight that fire, and they practiced extensively on that particular building. And of course, then when it happens, it's nothing, you cannot predict what that fire was going to do. But I know they tried their darndest, and they had some good community help.
It was really cold, really, really cold. It was way below zero, if I remember right. And Al Brown, and I'm sure everybody that's familiar with Ripon, came down and opened up the restaurant and had got coffee for us, and he kept it open till the whole morning after that. So we were there for probably till around 4:30. From there on, we went back to Indiana to get some things to wear.
The topography and the height of that building, even if you put a ladder, you know, Pacific Street slopes down, and that building was just huge, you know, and as a 15-year-old, that was the biggest building in town, and the ladders did not reach. And of course, that was the only way they had, because the rooms were in the back of the hotel, and that's where your patrons were. And again, the wind from the north, it must just been a terrible, terrible night to fight that fire. It was about 6:30 that morning that I got up, or I heard the phone ring, and my dad got up and answered the phone, and it was his sister calling from Chicago. And she said, George, what's going on in Ripon? WGN reports that the Grandview Hotel burned to the ground, and there's a possibility of 5 to 7 fatalities.
I lived up at 649 Lincoln Street at the time, and I didn't know there was a fire. I used to walk down to the office mornings, so I took off for the office in the neighborhood of 7:45 or so. And as I came down Watson Street, I looked up ahead, and where there should be the hotel, there was nothing but a cloud of steam and smoke.
When I heard it, I started to cry because that was my home, and I liked it there. I mean, and the one reason that I left was when I was going steady, and the fireman told us that there was no ladder that would reach up to our rooms where we were. My boyfriend said, "You're going to get out of there."
And I guess I'll never forget coming over the top of Watson Street Hill and seeing the grand view for my 15 years of my early life, and there was nothing there that morning. And of course, as we got closer to downtown, the reality set in.
After maybe the next day or so, because we had gone to Indiana, came back and we found out that there was people that had burned, and then we could understand why, because there was just no way for them to get out if they didn't get out right that fast.
And the closer I got, the more I realized that, well, it had happened, that the hotel had burned. And so I stopped into a restaurant on the south end of Watson Street and called Dad and let him know that it had happened. And his first question was, how many people died? And he was heartsick, if anyone ever was, because we had discussed this and anticipated it, and now it had happened. It was a horrible, horrible feeling.
We knew how fortunate we were. And to this day, every time I hear a fire engine go by or a fire whistle, I get kind of panicky. The good Lord saved our lives.